It's 12 noon, and this is City Line. Hi, I'm Jackie Hall, and we have been waiting for this day for a long time.
We sure have. I'm B.T. Bentley. We've got 2 old friends and 2 new friends here to entertain you today.
Yes, this is City Line's June Jazz Explosion, featuring
Roy Ayers,
Bobby Humphreys,
Lonnie Liston Smith,
and Noel Pointer.
We're going to have a great bit of fun today. Right now, here they are. Now, here's this week's community calendar.
Hello, my name is Charlemagne Marshall. The Neurocritical Care Unit of Johns Hopkins Hospital will sponsor a mini workshop on Tuesday, June 9th from 5 to 9 and June 13th from 1 until 5 p.m. in the Johns Hopkins University Meyer Auditorium. There will be lectures and many workshops, all to assist the neurocritical care nurses, medical research, emergency room nurses, and senior students. For more information, please call 955-2560. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jan Costello-Gross. The Homestead Montebello Center, Sojourner Douglas College Alumni Association invites you to be a part of their homecoming celebration from Sunday, June 28th through Sunday, July 5th. There will be a cocktail sip on June 28th, an alumni welcome reception on June 29th, a champagne toast and roast on July 2nd, and Dr. Eleanor Holmes Norton will be the commencement speaker on July 5th. To be a part of these and the many other activities planned for your entertainment and fulfillment, please call 276-0306.
Hello, my name is Rodney Moulton. Marylanders for Gymnastics invites you to a fundraiser benefit on Monday, June 15th from 5 to 9 p.m. at the 32nd Street Plaza and the Classics Lounge. There will be a buffet dinner, dancing, a comedy showcase, and more. Proceeds support Baltimore's Jubail Ra'akbar, Maryland's Olympic gymnastic hopeful for the future. For tickets and further information, call 728-7508.
If your group or organization would like to announce an event, please write us in care of Cityline, WJZ-TV, Television Hill, Baltimore, Maryland, 21211. Or call us for further information at 466-0013 between the hours of 9 and 5. Welcome back. Obviously, we're already having a lot of fun, and right now I want to reintroduce you to our wonderful guest today. From left to right, Mr. Lonnie Liston-Smith, our own Lonnie Liston-Smith. Lonnie has been here before. He was, visited us last year, and we're glad to have him back. Yeah. Next, Mr. Noel Pointer. It's our pleasure for Noel to be here for the first time. Noel Pointer. And, of course, the lovely Bobby Humphrey, here also for the first time. And
oh, please,
yes, the senior citizen. 3 times around, right? Roy Ayers. Roy, thank you. It's been about a year since Roy and Lonnie were here. Last time around, you were here with Tom Brown. How did the 4 of you get together for this particular
We've been working
tour?
together at different times. Sometimes the 2 of us, or 3 of us, or all of us. And it's nice for us to get together. We got together this time because a very fine promoter, Jim McNeil, decided to bring us in Baltimore.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Jim.
And we want to give Jim a round of applause right now. First of all.
All right.
I wanted to bring up, it takes people with creative thoughts to bring creative music into town. So, of course, I got it together with Bobby, Noel, and Lonnie, and we're here.
Now, 4 biggies in music. How in the world do you make it work and that you don't clash because of the egos and individual reputations? How do you make it work?
I feel because we're all creative individuals and musicians, as well as being great friends. And it's something that we have done for a long time and something that we enjoy. And hey, as Quincy Jones says, we leave the egos outside the door in the famous recording session. And it's about playing the music.
All right, now I've got to ask Noel, you looked a little taken back a few minutes before we went on the air. With these crazy people, how do you manage to keep yourself in step with what's going on? You seem to be the more laid back.
I think, well, one of the reasons no, I'm a nut myself. That's the only way I can deal with it. I'm just a crazy person myself, and I just enjoy just hanging out and having a good time with my friends. And That's all it's about.
Okay.
I think the most laid-back person in the band is really
Lonnie.
Lonnie.
Yeah.
He's definitely Lonnie's
We're talking about when you see him, but see, when you don't see him at the hotels.
I can tell you stories.
Oh, we got stories on Lonnie. Oh, man. We won't go into that.
Cosmic Prince.
Let's invite our home audience into this. 481-1313. If you have questions of any of our guests or all of our guests, call us now at 481-1313. Lonnie, you were here before.
Yes.
Have you been back to this area in the meantime? When is the last time you went back to Morgan? You were a graduate of Morgan.
Actually, I haven't been back to Morgan in a while, but I'm still proud to be a graduate. But I haven't been back. I was supposed to do the radio show last night, but there's something, mishap or something.
Okay, you're going to have to come back and go to Morgan and do some things out there because they're proud of you there.
Great.
Bobby, how did you get started?
I'm originally from Dallas, Texas, and I won a music scholarship to Texas Southern University in Houston and SMU in Dallas. And I just had this dream to participate in music recording particularly, and I came to New York summer of '71, and I've stayed ever since. And I was the first female signed to Blue Note 2 weeks after I arrived, and it's just something that I love.
I didn't even know that.
Yes, a lot you don't know.
I do it.
Mother tries.
You all seem to have a lot of fun when you're together.
I think that's what really motivates us. I think that's where we really groove with each other. We have a lot of fun. We keep a good positive vibe, and we act crazy. And crazy to us.
Roy, speak for
Crazy.
yourself.
Well, yeah, the Bobby's always one. But crazy to us is just having fun, having a good time. Like Lionel Hampton. He was crazy. Still is, right? Okay, but like that. People like that give us motivation and stimulation. And these people give me that stimulation and motivation.
It reminds me of the movie. I know the title. I don't know it too much, but I would say It's a Wonderful Life. That sums it up.
I love that. It's a wonderful life. Bobby Humphrey.
Something that excuse me. The Good Life. That's one of the.
The Good Life.
Let's talk about the instruments, though. I like the blend of the instruments, the flute with the violin and the vibes. Thank you. The violin and the blend is so beautiful. It's almost the same sound, but
interesting
yet
that you would say
quite
that because I
distinct.
commented on it earlier that it was such a nice. Didn't I say that to you?
Yes, you did.
I didn't think I was tripping or anything, but I said no. This is a beautiful instrumentation. We must use it more.
It's like the orchestra. You have your strings, your winds, and percussion.
That's right.
And what more do you need?
Now, we should give folks a little preview. You all will be appearing on June 12th, I believe.
That's right, at the Meyerhoff Auditorium, yes.
And that ought to be a great show. Joining you is Natasha Hassan.
Yes, you'll be on the show too, right?
That ought to be a great
And
show.
I like to say that that's a very beautiful room, and we've worked there before on 2 other explosions, if I'm not mistaken. And it's a beautiful room, and those of you who haven't purchased your ticket, purchase them immediately, if not sooner.
It's the 12th of June.
Come Friday is payday.
Slight plug. And you know what? We've been keeping this a secret, but we are going to throw down. You know the joke Richard Price said? 11:30. I'm waiting for 11:30. You know that joke? What's going to happen? Everything's going to jump off at.
Yes. It's gonna
What
be too
time?
loud.
What time is the show, Roy?
7 o'clock.
Is it 7?
Well, something like that.
It's 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock.
We will
Just
get
get there
that
at 7
straight.
anyway to make sure you get in.
Right.
Is there more? We thought you were giving it all up to us today.
Oh,
There is
come
more?
on. Oh, come on. We haven't talked about poo-poo la-la. You cannot get poo-poo la-la on television. You have to come to the Meyerhoff to see it and hear it. That's right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, y'all got to get a grip. It's
So
going to be fun.
we just give you little spots. Just
Little
spots and pieces, bits and pieces.
There's some wonderful bits and pieces. We've been listening to these guys rehearse all morning, and we can't wait to hear some more. And we are going to hear a lot more before this show is over. But again, we invite you to call in, and we're going to be talking with our audience here if they have some questions. So please take this opportunity to get into these people's minds and find out where they're coming from.
If they will allow us, I'm not sure. A blue violin. I have never seen a blue violin in my life, and I used to play the violin, but never blue.
Well, as you can see, I love the color blue.
Did you paint it yourself?
No, this violin was purchased in New York. Incidentally, I'm a New Yorker, and I just saw it. It was made by the Barkus Berry Company. And there's something else that's kind of unique about it in that it has 5 strings on it. Most violins only have 4 strings, but this has a lower viola string, so I can get down into the lower register. And when I'm hooked up to my electronics, I can even get down like a double bass.
Hello.
Oh yeah.
No, I've seen you do some very interesting things. And one time, I believe you were here in town, down at, I believe it was the Maryland Institute College of Art, I believe you were performing. And this is no lie, this guy was playing the piano and the violin at the same time.
My toes. No, I started out as a keyboard player. And, well, the story is that I come from a very musical family, and my mother was a music teacher. So she started me out on keyboards, and when I reached the age of 10, I decided that it was really the violin that I wanted. So it's very natural for me to want to just merge those things together, and I get kind of caught up in the logistics of playing and singing and all of that, but somehow it seems to work for me.
Okay, there's some folk at home that'd like to talk to you. We're going to go to them now. Hi, caller. You're on live on City Line. Hello, caller. Hi, caller. Okay, we lost that person. Now, you mentioned your mother. I have an album where your mother sings with you. Does she still perform with you periodically?
Periodically, yes. As a matter of fact, my mother's pretty amazing. This weekend coming up, matter of fact, next Sunday, I'm going to be appearing with actor John Amos in New York, and my mother is the producer of that concert. So we're getting ready to fill a 2,000-seat auditorium there, and Mom's is in charge. So,
fantastic, fantastic. Yeah. We'll try again for a call from home. Hi, caller. You're on the air, we hope.
Yes.
Great. Go ahead.
Yes. I'd like to say hi to all the guys, but I want to talk to Roy Ayers specifically. I'm looking for the Searching LP, No Strangers to Love, and Ubiquity, and I can't seem to find them.
I can't find them either. I'm going to tell you what happened. Those albums are out of print. Unfortunately, if you didn't get 2 or 3 copies when they came out, it's all over unless they, Polydor, or the company that put them out at the time, decided to re-release them. So it's all over. If you can find somebody with a tape, I just suggest you tape it, a record or a tape. Tape it from somebody.
Any chance of those coming out on CD or anything like that?
I don't know. See, it's on another label. I'm on a new label now, CBS.
Okay,
exact. But anyway,
got that in.
Yeah, but you know, those records no longer exist as far as releases.
Okay. Thank you, Colin.
One thing people can always remember: if either one of us have a hit record,
right,
all your old stuff comes out automatically.
Yeah, they re-release it.
Because then they re-release everything.
Because
so
they know they can sell the old stuff.
Then the onus is on Roy.
On another label.
I have a comment also, is that if you usually if you want an old record like that, if you will just seek out and find a rare record shop, sometimes you can find some pretty interesting things. And I know because I collect some rare violin albums.
You know what? You're right. And you might find some records in Colony Records in New York City. They have old records.
They have a lot of
and they cost a pretty penny.
Listen, guys, we got to take a break for a minute so we can hear some more music. But we're going to come right back, so please stay with us.
Up next on Newscap, investments in rights at home, complete divestment abroad. I'm Isa Sarabay.
This is City Line's June Jazz Explosion with Roy Ayers, Bobby Humphrey, Noel Pointer, and Lonnie Liston Smith. Roy, we've talked about just about the other instruments, and you mentioned Lionel Hampton. Was he your influence in taking up the vibes?
He gave me my first set of vibe mallets. Those are the mallets I play with. And a lot of people say he laid some spiritual vibes on me because some 17 years later I started playing the vibes. Like Noel, I came from a very musical family. My mother taught piano. And so it was a very natural thing. I always knew I was going to be a musician, So, yeah, Lionel Hampton, great.
With the instruments today, I mean, Noel playing an electric violin, the vibes have changed since you first started playing, haven't they? The instrument itself in terms of technically?
Yes, I think that Lionel Hampton is the main innovator of the instrument.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one that made the instrument speak. Before he came along, it was just used as a symphonic instrument in symphonies and orchestras. And he came along and started making the instrument speak and swing and groove and get personality with it. And he's one of the greatest showmen of all time. The instrument blends beautifully with the flute. For years, Milt Jackson and Frank West did a number of albums together, if you recall some of those albums in the early days. But the unusual part of this instrumentation is the violin, which really gives it a whole different color, a whole different flavor, yes.
Okay, we're going to take another call from home. Hi, caller, you're on the air.
Yes, I'd like to first say hello to all the guests and welcome to Baltimore. Bobby, this question is basically for you. My name is Crystal. I'd like to know, being a young black female flutist, did you have any reservations about breaking into show business?
No, I did not, because it reminds me of an interview I did a couple of weeks ago, as a matter of fact, and the particular interview kept asking me what the negative aspects. And I always knew, and as you all see, that I am female, so that's without saying. I'm a musician, and that's because I enjoy what I'm doing. And I guess my attitude has always been one who looks at the positive and the business side of it. I fortunately have always had my own group. I've never really worked as a side person, and it's just really what I enjoy doing. I've never had any problem with the males of the music business because I love all men, particularly black men. My father was the greatest black man that I knew. As you see, I feel very strongly about this. No problem.
And we have no problem, with Bobby.
Thank you,
be
Roy.
sure, woman, what have you, because she can play.
But Bobby, you are unique in music, aren't you?
Yes, I am, and that was one of the selling points that I was the first female signed to Blue Note Records in '71. The record companies are looking at the bottom line. Frankly, it was a uniqueness. It was something that had not been done before, and hey, they could sell records. That's what they're in the business of doing. And hey, I just enjoy it.
So you were the right person at the right time.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay, another call. Caller, you're in touch with our guests. Hello, anybody?
Morning.
Yes, you're on the air.
Okay. I'd like to, to Roy Ayers, I'd like to know, how did you come up with the title, Let Me Kiss You on Your Poo-Poo La-La?
You have to come. I can't tell you right now because you have to come to the concert, because if I tell you now, then you'll know. You gotta come to the concert to find out. But let me tell you something. It's a big secret.
They can find out on the 12th, though.
You can find out on the 12th.
That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you, caller.
That's true. There is a song called that, so they can come for that.
Okay. Listen, it's about time that we take a short break here. We've got to do a little news thing, and we want to toss to our good friend in the newsroom, Isis Arbe.
Okay.
Thank you, Jackie, BT. Good afternoon, everyone. A debate over civil rights at home, a fight for human rights abroad, tops our newscap this week. I'm Isis Arbe. The topic of civil rights is just one of the issues captivating the minds of Americans now, particularly in the light of the bicentennial of the United States Constitution. The truths the Founding Fathers held to be self-evident have been hard to find for some Americans even 200 years after the fact. With me today is Commissioner Jacques Leeds of the State Workers' Compensation Commission. Commissioner Leeds has been an attorney for 30 years. He has done extensive work in constitutional law in his private practice, including taking a case to the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals. Good afternoon, Commissioner.
Hello, Isis Sarah. How are you?
All right. Supreme Court Justice Thurgood Marshall recently said the celebration of the Constitution is a hollow one. since the rights of minorities and women were not even considered at the Constitutional Convention. How do you feel about this?
Well, as an Associate Supreme Court Justice and as an attorney, I'd be inclined to agree with Justice Marshall in any regard, but seriously, I am very much in agreement with what he says about the Constitution, because if you remember, most of the men involved in its writing and implementation were men of means and therefore men of property, and those property rights were, I think, most significant in the writing and implementation of the Constitution.
The Constitution makes a couple of references to the status of persons, namely in the 3/5 Clause and in the 1808 Clause. And later on, Chief Justice Roger Taney also referred to persons in the Dred Scott decision. What is a legal person, and what were persons of African descent considered?
Well, persons of African descent, unfortunately, were considered less than persons and with no rights that anyone had to respect because they were not members recognized in the family of nations as real people. Real people, citizens were people that can act, and chattel slaves was the first time you had a group of people who, as chattels, were pure property who could only be acted upon, and they could not act, only react to.
The 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments freed the slaves, granted citizenship, and gave the right to vote. Do you feel these were effective in bringing the slaves into the body politic or making them legal persons?
No, I do not. The fact is, I think that either because they were hastily conceived or maybe part malice because they wanted to punish the South and leave the ex-slaves there among the former slaveholders, or for whatever reason, the thinking was not clear. The 13th Amendment only physically freed the slaves. The 14th was an attempt at citizenship, which at best created a second-class citizenship. And the third, the Voting Rights Amendment, why do you have to have voting rights amendments every 10 years? If you're once a citizen, you have the right to vote, absolutely.
Well, what suggestions would you have for bringing about not just civil but human rights for persons of African descent?
Well, I think that there must at some point be a naturalization proceeding whereby the former slaves, even their descendants, have to be returned to their proper names, and actual citizenship, not a second-class type, under the first original articles of the Constitution.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Commissioner Leeds. Nationwide celebrations for the Constitution will culminate on the 4th of July, Independence Day.
My pleasure.
In international news, human rights struggles in South Africa continue on both sides of the globe. Earlier this week, Reverend Leon Sullivan, author of the Sullivan Principles, renounced his measures of gradual reform in South Africa. Sullivan drew up the plan 10 years ago as a voluntary code of ethics and employment for corporations doing business in South Africa. Sullivan now favors complete withdrawal of corporations doing business in South Africa. He denounced the Botha regime for dragging its feet in abolishing apartheid and believes conditions there have worsened since the recent conservative win in the May elections. South African President P.W. Botha took his case to the people this week in a landmark visit to the ghettos outside Johannesburg. He made a personal pitch to the Lakowa Town Council for his National Multiracial Advisory Board. But he was told the nation's 25 million blacks will accept nothing less than full equality in Parliament. The 6 townships administered by the Lakowa Council include Sharpeville and Sebokeng, both known cradles of dissent in South Africa. A case of bad press forming public opinion? That's what Reverend Jesse Jackson thinks about the fraud indictment against United States Representative Harold Ford. Jackson compared Ford's case to the biblical crucifixion, but he stopped short of saying Tennessee's only African-American congressman was innocent of the charges against him. Ford is charged in a 19-count bank and mail fraud indictment for allegedly swapping political favors for bogus bank loans. In national news, the AIDS crisis has moved into a United States military court. A soldier at Army Fort Huachuca in Arizona faces court-martial for having sex with 3 other soldiers without telling them he had the AIDS virus. Private Adrian Morris is charged with aggravated assault against 2 female and 1 male soldier. It's the first case of its kind to go to a jury in any U.S. court. Maryland's Brian Lee Tribble has the hardest of his court days behind him now. He left his fate in the hands of a jury, and they ruled in his favor. Tribble was pronounced not guilty of all charges stemming from the cocaine death of his friend, Len Bias. The state tried to prove Tribble was the person who provided the cocaine the night Bias died.
I'm so overwhelmed right now, I really don't know how to explain myself, and I'm just glad that the system didn't fail me. That's the only comments I really have right now.
Did you have any doubt in your mind for a moment?
There's always some doubt.
I think when you're in a system with this much pressure and with these many things, it's very difficult to not be without doubt.
I think any time that we have 12 people in our community giving us 6-7 days out of their lives, listening as they did, they took notes carefully, the justice is served. Even if we disagree with their verdict, we respect it and we're satisfied the system worked.
Testimony from Bias's 2 roommates cast doubt on exactly who brought the cocaine that night. Triple still faces 2 counts of obstructing justice, and the Bias family is considering filing suit for the damage to their son's reputation. In sports, Dwight Gooden planted 2 feet solidly on the comeback trail Friday night. He pitched a win in his first major league outing since returning from drug rehabilitation treatment for cocaine abuse. Gooden left for 28 days of treatment back in April. Then it was weeks of pitching and batting practice until the final test on Friday. That's the test he passed. Much to the dismay of the Pirates, the Mets won 5-1. It was 10 years in coming, but track star Edwin Moses now feels the twinges of the agony of defeat. Moses lost his first race since 1977 by 1/10 of a second to American runner Danny Harris. Harris, 10 years younger than Moses, clocked in at a half-second slower than the world record Edwin Moses still holds. A month ago, we told you about a For Kids' Sake program called No Hang-Ups. It's a telephone service sponsored by WJZ-TV and the Shepherd Pratt Education Center. No Hang-Ups offers taped messages on 25 different topics specifically for teenagers. During the months of April and May, 3 topics logged in over 1,000 calls each. They were thinking about sex. That was the top topic at over 1,800 calls. Next, it was followed by falling in love at a close 1,600, and homosexuality in teens with just over 1,000 calls. Under city line skies today, mostly sunny and warm, highs reaching the mid to upper 80s. But carry your umbrella, though. There's a slight chance of an afternoon thunderstorm. Enjoy the day and the week ahead. I'm Isa Sarabay. Now back to Jackie and BT for more of City Line.
Thank you, Isa Sarah. And we'd like to tell you that there is a new number for No Hang-Ups because it has been so popular among teens. It's 825-4800, 825-4800 for No Hang-Ups.
It's good to hear that that's going so well.
Oh, my, yes.
We're going to go pay some bills right now, but when we come back, more of Bobby Humphrey, Noel Pointer, Roy Ayers, and Lonnie Liston-Smith. Stay with us.
What did you play the music?
Can you give us a little what you're going to do, please? Show us how you're going to start it.
I'm just going to go.